Good morning, good morning, good morning. Merry stupid o'clock to everyone, although thankfully not quite as stupid o'clock as usual. Thank you, Sunday call center hours. Welcome to another episode of Spilling Tea. I am your host, Tiffany Daniels, and as always at this early in the morning, folks, it is time to go back to that place of horrors and vicious, mind-boggling, complete and utter stupidity and complete lack of common sense, the Judge Rotenberg Center. Now, before we get started, guys, a few disclaimers. First off, you are going to find the link to this gigantic freaking file right there in the description, as well as Autistic Goya's massive archive on this topic, from which you're going to see most of the materials for these videos. And also the templates, folks. Fill out your name, click on your senator. Let's stop all improper restraints and all adversive punishments. Don't you think it's time to stop punishing disabled people for breathing while disabled? Get it done, all right? Also, the change.org Shut the Judge Rotenberg Center Down petition. Get it filled out, shared it. I don't need to tell you guys what to do with a petition. All right, folks, when we are talking about the JRC, you're going to hear vivid descriptions of, and sometimes we see clips of video surveillance, camera footage of people with disabilities being tortured and abused. If you do have young children present, please, for the love of God, headphones, and preferably be somewhere other than the living room where they're going to be able to see it. A lot of this is extremely traumatizing. Also, folks, it is 5:07. Yes, it's a little less stupid o'clock than usual. But I did get up an hour later today, and I'm not only not completely awake, but I am suffering from a severe case of autistic fog brain. So if I stumble over my words, folks, my apologies in advance. So, we are going to, it's called Chapter 2, Contracts, Daily Hourly Aims, and Reward Stores. The fuck does the reward store have to do with the August 26, 2007 incident, Judge? This is why this report is so long. You're giving all a bunch of useless, completely useless information that has nothing to do with the subject matter at hand, while being completely dismissive of the abysmal lack of training that these staff members actually receive. And you're completely dismissive of the torture and abuse that goes on in the school. I'm just... Alright, let's go over this, Lord. Let's go over this and take a look at what kind of verbal or, I guess, literary diarrhea this judge is going to spew now. Help me with this one. Chapter 2 explains the token system and contract system. Students receive tokens throughout the day for exhibiting appropriate behaviors identified in their treatment plan. When students exhibit a minor behavior, they lose 1 token. When they exhibit a major disruptive behavior, they lose all their tokens. Students can then use tokens to purchase rewards. The staff is provided with a script to follow when setting a contract with a student according to the student's program description. When a Level 3 Adversive Food program is part of a student's court-approved plan, meaning the student must earn a portion of their meals by exhibiting appropriate behavior, staff are charged with dividing up a student's meal into portions according to the length of the contract. I still cannot believe that this judge thinks it's okay to force vulnerable people to have to earn the right to eat. That is absolutely horrifying and disgusting. That anyone outside of the JRC thinks that not only that it's okay, but it should be done with all of us. Judge, were you the guy who had the freaking magnifying glass with the freaking ants? Did you kill cats in your youth? I'm asking for those of us who wonder what kind of sick son of a bitch thinks that not this good is a good idea to make people have to earn the right to eat when they are kids. Help me, Jesus. Moving on. Chapter 3, GM Residential Classroom Routines. Oh God, what's this horror show going to be like? Chapter 3 instructs staff on how to manage groups of students as well as students one-to-one. In group settings, students must always be involved in some type of productive activity. For the love of God, why? Okay, here is the double standard. Let me explain this to you all. Why is it neurotypical kids are not freaking beaten into this idea that they must always be engaging in some productive activity? Why are they allowed to go and have fun sometimes during school? But us disabled kids, well, we better be doing something productive all the time or we're going to be punished. Can someone explain this to me? Why we can't treat disabled kids like fucking kids? Why we have way higher standards for disabled kids than we do for neurotypicals? Can someone explain this shit to me? Why this is supposed to be okay? Because this is not just a problem at the JRC. This is a widespread problem. When you take a look at special education, especially for the freaking autistic kids, where you must always be doing something productive, or we can't feed you today. Yet that neurotypical kid doesn't have to earn the right to go to recess. Explain that shit to me. Go ahead, I'll wait. Staff is instructed to do bed checks 4 times per hour during the overnight hours. But at random times, students are very intelligent and know when the checks will be done. Well, at least you can acknowledge that, Judge. Yes, we are very intelligent. This is why it's not okay to treat us like less than animals. All staff purses, keys, cell phones, and wallets are to be locked up when the staff is in the classroom or a residence. Staff is warned that students have run away in the past and could use staff cars if they have access to the keys. We don't want them running away from your torture center, do we, Judge? Like, why would a student possibly want to run away from this place when they're being starved, shocked, and sleep deprived? And that's just for starters. Why would they ever want to run away from that? I'm baffled. Staff must search students prior to transport to ensure that students do not have pens that can be used as weapons. You wouldn't want your comeuppance now, would ya? Chapter 3 also instructs staff on how to address injuries. Really? Really? You all care about injuries? How are they getting those injuries, Judge? Just saying. When a staff person notices an injury in the course of a required body check, and he or she suspects it's a result of a GED application, or the injury is unexplained, then the staff should notify nursing and the monitoring department immediately. There is a nurse on call during the overnight hours. Oh, if you all gave two shits about those students getting harmed, you wouldn't be doing any of this crazy shit. Spare me, Judge. I thought that these shocks were completely harmless, with no long-term effects at all. If that is true, then why are you mentioning, Judge, that the nursing staff should be notified? There should be no problem, right? It doesn't cause any real harm, right? Contradicting yourself there. Staff should inform the shift supervisor and the monitoring department in the event of illness or injury. A nurse should be asked to do in-person assessment in the event of a potentially serious illness or injury. Okay, I see. You're covering your ass. Even if it's coming out hypocritical as fuck because you always say it doesn't cause any lasting effects, you would rather the world to know, but we have a nurse. Because that nurse is not going to cover for the school. Right. Monitoring and staff person with the student will follow a checklist to evaluate the student. Like they're going to tell the truth. Fucking spare me. Student will be asked if he or she wishes to see a nurse in person. If that nurse is not available to do a necessary in-person evaluation, the staff will call 911. Monitoring is responsible for contacting the on-call nurse. Chapter 4. Okay, we've gone through enough, and if I go through the accelerator right now, I'm trying to have a good attitude before I get on the phone today, folks. Not be breathing fire out of my mouth with smoke coming out my ears. So we're going to go ahead and end it there, even though it makes this morning's episode relatively short. I just find it interesting. Don't you? Here's what we find interesting. I'm going to go over it with you here. This page is interesting on several levels. One, because the judge thinks it's completely okay for a disabled student to have to earn the right to eat. Number 2, there is this strange double standard that I have never, ever understood between disabled kids and neurotypical kids, disabled young adults and neurotypical young adults. What am I talking about? It is the fact that nobody would ever think to put all this in place even for a troubled neurotypical child. A neurotypical child is never forced to have to be in a productive activity all day, every day, 24/7. A neurotypical child doesn't have to earn the right to go on field trips or have recess. You know, they don't have to earn that. However, if it is a disabled student or young adult, for some reason, we have to be engaging in productive activities all the damn time. And if we're not, then many people, like this judge, thinks that it is then all right to take things away from us that they wouldn't take away from a troubled neurotypical child. A neurotypical can throw a hissy fit, and they're still going to be able to go to recess. A disabled student has an autistic meltdown. Well, then that is then called a behavior, and they remove that right away. If a disabled student is not productive all the time, we get punished. There's something inherently wrong with this. You see what I'm saying? Why are we holding disabled people up to these standards? Why are we making them have to jump through all of these hoops to earn the rights that neurotypical kids have automatically simply because they exist? It is wrong on a fundamental level. It's been wrong for years, and it needs to be fixed. Also, number 3, what I found very, very interesting is this school maintains on a semi-regular basis that the GED has 0 long-term effects and is not really hurting the students. It's just a quick zap like a bee sting, right? How many times have we heard that? If that is true, then explain to me the 2002 and the 2007 incidents. And explain to me why, and I'll read that again, when a staff person notices an injury in the course of a required body check that he or she suspects as a result of a GED application, then the staff should notify nursing and the monitoring department immediately. There is a nurse on call during the overnight hours. Staff should inform shift supervisor and monitoring department in the event of illness or injury. A nurse should be asked to do an in-person assessment in the event of a potential illness or injury. Explain that shit. If you all aren't harming or torturing these kids and young adults, why is this even a thing? Now, on that final thought, folks, we're going to go ahead and close out here for this morning. Now, we don't get very many views on this channel, especially on this subject. The few that we do get do tend to get removed from time to time. So please don't forget to hit that like button. Hit subscribe. Don't forget to hit the comments. I do appreciate your time this morning. And as always, we here at Spilling Tea hope you have a good one. Bye-bye.